Right. So if we look at the themes and the objectives, and guys, you can have a glance at those yourselves. The key thing is that we are now looking at a business level. Cheval, how can I help? Where? We're looking at a business level. So if you think, for example, of macro, its different business units would be, sorry, for example, of Massmart, Walmart, its business units would be macro, would be game, would be, sorry, my brain is fried. You know which ones I'm talking about. Okay, so essentially we're looking at that level. So we're looking at the sort of Builders Express at the macro level. We're looking at the game level. I think Boxer is also part of what they do. And in terms of those, each of those options that I've just mentioned will use one of these specific generic strategies. Now, you've seen this before. We've done this a couple of times. If we think of what low cost is, the focus of a low-cost strategy is about constantly working at reducing your manufacturing costs, reducing your input costs, essentially trying to get to economies of scale where we reduce the price per item as much as possible. So when we think of fast food, give me examples of fast food that would form part of a low-cost strategy. What fast food options would fit a low-cost strategy? McDonald's, Cherise argues, and I always thought they were low cost. McDonald's argues that they differentiated, and I'll talk about it. They argue that there it is, honchos and caranichas, spot on. I agree with you though, Cherise, that they are low cost, but their strategy, their stated strategy is that they differentiated, that they're unique, etc. So I'm a bit surprised at that. Having said that, I always thought they were low cost. The one I thought of was honchos. You know, honchos is the sort of 4 days before the end of the month meal when you've got no money and the only thing that stands between you and starvation is the 20 Rand meal that you're going to get from honchos. Caranichas obviously as well, really good value for money. And then some of the other options. Best value would be those kinds of places that give you good value for money. So it is a combination almost of low cost and differentiation, if you think of those two together, where you essentially give great value for money and you still give something that's unique enough. What would fit the sort of best value definition in terms of fast food? What would fit the best value? What is good value for money fast food in South Africa? Something that's filling, something that's good quality. So we know that it's something that essentially will have good protein levels. It's not junk thrown together, but it's that combination of uniqueness and good value for money. Where do you think something like Nando's would fit in? Where do you think something like Nando's is an in-between one? So when I think of best value, I really believe that Nando's fits that. Nando's might argue that they differentiated. Differentiated is uniqueness. Give me examples of what would fit there. Is Nando's expensive? Guys, I'm not a big takeaway person. If Nando's is expensive, then they differentiated. Then they are differentiated. Okay, so if they are expensive, then they are differentiated, because part of differentiation is the fact that your quality allows you to charge more for it. Okay, so can I just say I haven't had Nando's in 20 years. I'm not yeah, I haven't had Nando's in a long time. So best value, that might then be KFC in terms of best value. I think you still get a bucket for a reasonable price. Yeah, Karanichas, but I think Karanichas is low cost. I think Karanichas is high turnover. They might even fit a bit of best value as well. But for me, Karanichas, considering what they sell, is always going to be low cost. Not that there's anything wrong with Karanichas. The quality is exemplary, but it is their ability to mass make and sell. You can have rolls for 10 Rand or something. Okay. Okay, sure. That is okay, guys. And then differentiation, uniqueness, focus, best value is where you, it's almost like focus differentiation. It would be your sort of Kauai type places. I don't know if anyone's ever tried, and I'm possibly mispronouncing Kauai, any of their health food. Has anyone ever tried Kauai? Am I saying it wrong? I'm going to type it in here. Very expensive, which makes it focus, best value, very healthy. I would imagine, and they've changed the rules in terms of this, which is quite sad because it used to be focus differentiation. Very tasty. Okay, good benefits. Yeah, so it's definitely, and it's not a wide group or a wide audience that will actually eat that. Guys, focus cost would be those really cheap and nasty ones that people who are very close to indigent would have. So this is where it's about filling your stomach, not so much about the protein content, not so much about the taste, etc. I can't think of focus cost. Any cheap and nasty places in Maritzburg that serve food? Sort of food that if you didn't buy it, you would think fell off the back of a truck. Oh, no, without a doubt, Cherise, 100%. The focus, best value, certainly. Eve Street food, pretty good. Okay, is that focus cost? Is that what you're saying? Who knows about Eve Street foods? Eve Street foods. Street food, even, okay, street foods. Yeah, I mean, you get really good value for money. Yeah, so you can argue that maybe a focus cost could be a boerewors roll type place. Not everyone's going to buy there, and it's not really boerewors that you're getting. You might get bors if you're lucky, or chakalaka in your roll. Right, so if we then look at each of those, in terms of business level strategies, certain things that we look at. The first one is that it is about competition, and it's about maintaining competition within a particular industry. So these specific strategies relate to where you position yourself in a particular industry. The focus all the time in terms of that positioning is that you get yourself some sort of market share, whether it is a broad market, which is always going to be your low cost or differentiated broad market, or whether it's a narrow market where you have a focus type strategy. Key things in terms of that are making sure that you first of all address your customer needs. So you know who your customer is, you create needs where needs don't exist, but it's that beyond close to a customer. One of my favorite authors, Tom Peters, talks about being beyond close to a customer. Those beyond close to a customer moments essentially mean that you know exactly what your customer is thinking, what their needs are, what their desires are, what they essentially will pay for. The second one is to look at your competitors. So it's about essentially outplaying, outmaneuvering, and beating your rivals. And if you think of WWE. And I don't watch wrestling, so please forgive me if this doesn't happen anymore, but where they chuck everyone in a single cage and the last person standing is the one who wins. Now, that's an awful way of describing how a market works, but in essence, that's what it is, that you are against your rivals, you're against your competitors, and your intention is to secure the biggest win possible. Guys, and then finally second to last, it's about the market conditions. And it's interesting to see what is happening in the market at the moment. Money is incredibly tight. You'll see over the next couple of weeks, Woolworths introducing deals. You're going to see significant amounts of specials come up simply because we want to generate spending. And when money is tight and people don't spend, that's when the economy suffers. And the reality for most individuals is that at the moment, money is incredibly tight. We've been through another lockdown. We had the insanity of 2 weeks ago. South Africa isn't in a very, very good place. And then lastly, it's about long-term competitive advantage. So we know, for example, if you drive a Mercedes, that you drive from a long-term perspective, something that's differentiated, something that's unique, something that stands out from the crowd, something that will have technology that some of the cheaper rivals won't have. So what happens is that your brand becomes associated with a particular competitive strategy. And when you think Mercedes, when you think BMW, when you think Audi, it's all associated with differentiation. It's about uniqueness. In terms of Volvo, for example, so for me, Volvo would be differentiated or best value focus. I still think they've got it wrong in terms of the theory, but it's that level. Not everyone's going to buy a Volvo, but it is very unique. It's very special. It's something that makes you stand out from the crowd. Anyone's parents own a Volvo? Anyone here own a Volvo? No Volvos. Why don't you guys own Volvos? Do you own one, Omar? Okay. Guys, so when we look at this, and you might as well NB this slide. Very cool, Boyo. You might as well NB this slide because I promise you this will be an exam question. It's an exam question every year. I would be very surprised if it's not. In fact, if it isn't an exam question, I will give you money and lots of it. So this question makes an appearance every year. You'll see it again this year. Unfortunately, it'll be Zim dollars, but it'll be a lot of Zim dollars, okay? Okay, so we look at the 3 levels of strategy. So corporate level strategy, if you want to look at some of these, and I'll give you a second to go and dig for some of these organizations. If you look at Tata, for example, Tata as an organization has several hundred divisions. So Tata as an organization is a massive, massive behemoth. It has several hundred divisions. So at a corporate level, you'll have Tata as a company, and then you would look at the different options under Tata. Tata, in terms of business level strategies, those divisions under Tata include everything from hotels to IT support systems, to cars, to tea farms, to heavy equipment, to steel manufacturing, to cars. I think I might have said cars already. At some point, Tata, in fact, ran the national airline for India before it was, in fact, nationalized to become part of a government-type process. So Tata is a very diverse, widely diverse organization. Give me other examples of organizations that are as diverse as that at a corporate level and the businesses under it. Give me other examples. Bidvest, what is under Bidvest, Sinik? Okay, Voltex, Waltons. Okay, they also have the cleaning services, don't they? I think they've got a cleaning division as well, and obviously the banking side of it as well. I think they're a bank as well. He says frantically searching on Google to sound very intelligent. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, a widely diversified company. Other examples, guys? Virgin to me is the one that I thought of, Knox. Virgin, highly diversified. Everything from gyms to something that will take you into space and everything in between. Airline, and we know that Richard Branson set up bank, car rentals, insurance. My goodness me, yeah. One that is a nice South African one would obviously be Discovery as well. I think if you look at Discovery, several divisions under it. Edcon, although Edcon I think is not the company it used to be. Edcon will give you everything from a cell phone contract to a home loan to a place that will sell you furniture and clothes and sunglasses and perfume, etc. So we've got an idea where we are at in terms of the corporate level. So this is essentially the overall organization. This is the umbrella organization. It's the organization that essentially will have several divisions under it. When we take a break, I want you guys to go look at Tata and all its divisions. At a business level, so this would be if we were to use Virgin. At a business level, we would have Virgin Air, we would have Virgin Space, we would have Virgin Gyms, we would have banks, we would have cell phones, and many more. And the reason companies diversify is often when one specific industry is not performing, it offsets the non-performance of that industry against performance in another industry. So being diversified and having links between the things that you've diversified into makes a lot of sense for businesses. Guys, and then just at an operational level, and you can see here, these are your functional strategies. So it would be your marketing and your HR and your finance and your IT strategy and those kinds of things. So in terms of those three, essentially, every conglomerate, every multinational would have each of those levels. At the top, the multinational, the different divisions, and then the different functional areas.